good morning to some part of the world, good afternoon and good evening. This is our third YouthLead Ambassador webinar of the Core 3. And my name is Efrem Bekala. I'm an Atlas Core Fellow and a Youth Engagement Fellow for Youth Power 2 Learning and Evaluation Project at Making Sense International. Today, 3 of my colleagues and 2 of our YouthLead Ambassadors and 1 guest speaker have joined us to this webinar. So on today's webinar, we will talk about entrepreneurship, specifically youth entrepreneurship and empowerment. And entrepreneurship is a very vital tool for development, and it has a call for every young people to use it as a radical social change tool, economic stability, and also self-reliance and sustainability. In a region where there are few job opportunities, youth empowerment and entrepreneurship has been found to be very important sector for both young people and also the economy at large. Youth entrepreneurship in Middle East, in the MENA area and also Africa is addressing problems like conflict, health coverage, innovative ways of sustainable income. On the other hand, many young people or youth-led startups die at the early stage of their lives, which is a very sad thing. And also there are many factors that contribute to this failure or death of startup owned by youth or youth-led organizations. So on today's webinar, we will talk about and also explore youth entrepreneurship and youth empowerment experiences from 2 regions of the world. And they will take us to their daily experience as a young entrepreneur and also as a young leader into the youth empowerment sphere. Next slide. So we'll have an introduction to our YouthLead team. Then we'll have a brief project overview about YP2LE project. Then we'll go to Thomas, who is a YouthLead ambassador from Sierra Leone. He will talk about youth entrepreneurship and his experience. Then after Thomas, Sabah will take the stage and talk about youth empowerment and youth entrepreneurship and what kind of connection it has and how she is sustaining the space. Finally, we have a guest speaker who is also a young entrepreneur who is working on the creative industry. So I will ask him 2 questions about his journey in the youth entrepreneurship sphere. Finally, we'll have a question and answer session and a closing remark. Next slide, please. And I'll give it to Sarah to introduce our team.
Thanks, Efrem. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this morning's YouthLead Ambassador webinar, and congrats to Thomas and Sabah for putting together this session on a really important topic. My name is Sarah Sladen, and I'm the Senior Youth Engagement Advisor for Youth Power 2 Learning and Evaluation, or YP2LE for short, at Making Sense International. And just want to highlight our team that supports YouthLead and our YouthLead Ambassador program. We're a big team. There's a lot of roles. We've got folks working on communications, and this morning we're joined by Gloria Schultz, Senior Communications Associate from our team. We're also joined by Cole Simcoe, who is helping support our logistics for the Zoom meetings. And of course, these meetings are supported by Efrem, our Atlas Core Fellow and Youth Engagement Fellow for YP2LE. So we're a big team, and I hope that you have a chance to get to know more of us in the months ahead. Before we dive into this morning's webinar, I want to offer you a little bit more background about YP2LE and what we are, what we're doing. So YP2LE is supported by Youth Power, and Youth Power is a USAID funding mechanism for youth-focused programs on evaluation and research. And the goal of YP2LE is to generate knowledge and promote learning on positive youth development, or PYD. If you're not familiar with PYD, this is a holistic framework for youth development that assumes all young people have assets that should be invested in through inclusion, access, education, and training. The framework for PYD also promotes the idea that youth have agency that can be best supported by an enabling environment, i.e. strong youth networks like our YouthLead Ambassador program, supportive adults, youth-friendly services and resources, and youth-friendly policies. And I think that's particularly relevant to supporting young entrepreneurs around the world, creating an ecosystem that enables them to get their businesses and ideas off the ground and supported. YouthLead.org is a platform you might be more familiar with, and this serves young changemakers like you all We also have youthpower.org, which is focused specifically on youth serving organizations, so typically international NGOs. Both platforms are supported by YP2LE, or Youth Power 2 Learning and Evaluation. And they're really designed to connect our community, share resources and learning on PYD, both for adult practitioners and emerging young leaders like all of you today. So I'm going to let Ephraim speak a little bit more about youthlead.org and how you can engage the platform. But I just want to say, again, congrats to Sabah and Thomas for putting together this session on such an important topic. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the speakers this morning. Over to you, Ephraim.
Thanks, Sarah. So for anyone who has a question like how YouthLead is working and when it started and how many members we have, I have the answer. So YouthLead.org was launched in 2018 on the World Bank Youth Summit. And today it has more than 12,000 members from around the world. And members are usually between the ages of 15 and 35. And they are young change makers and who are working for positive change and impact in their communities. It could be as an advocate, activists, volunteers, or entrepreneurs. So if you are a young person and if you think you want the network to facilitate different leadership experiences and meet with other young people, this is the site for you. And it can be a member to the site. We will drop the link to join the site on the chat box. And once you are a member, you can also access different resources. You can access network, you can access peer. We have different online discussions you can take part in, and also you can stay up to date on the opportunities and events. So it has different services. For example, if you see on the screen, you can connect with other similar peer leaders like you. You can also access different resources, and also different funding opportunities are on the site. So I will come back later at the end of the webinar to share more about on how to join YouthLead and also how to benefit more from the site. Next slide, please. So this is our current cohort 3 YouthLead ambassadors on the screen. This picture you are seeing is now consists of 21 YouthLead ambassadors from different parts of the world. They have a 6-month term of ambassadorship, and they have represented more than 20 countries from Africa, Asia, South and Central America, and other parts of the world. And for this cohort 3, for the current cohort, we received more than 3,000 applications from young change makers, and we have selected 21 young change makers as a YouthLead ambassador. The ambassadors are sharing different information about YouthLead and with their networks, and also the increased engagement with YouthLead through participating on the discussion groups, social media engagement, and also now they are sharing their experiences with a webinar like this one. So with all this introduction, I will forward to Thomas and Sabah, who are a YouthLead ambassador, and also we have one guest speaker, Alan Mustafa, who is going to be a speaker for today. I will just introduce Thomas and Sabah right now, then I'll give it to Thomas to start the presentation. So Thomas is a current YouthLead ambassador from Sierra Leone. He is a youth activist and consultant and businessman, and also he's a social entrepreneur. He's the founder of a company called Tomodact. It's an abbreviation. He also serves as a deputy executive director of Global Youth Network for Peace and its founding regional chairperson of Manu River Youth Network, or MRNY. And Sabah is also a YouthLead ambassador from Yemen. She's a social activist and member of MENA Youth Council. She has worked as a peer mentor with World Learning and a facilitator with the Digital Exchange Program. Sabah is passionate about youth empowerment, entrepreneurship, and expanding opportunities for young people in the MENA region. And at the end, we also have Ali Mustafa, who is a co-founder of ColorMe, a green startup with vision to make the fashion and clothing industry sustainable. He is also involved in many youth networks. I will have 2 questions and discussion with him at the end of the session. So welcome everyone, and also thank you our speakers. I will give it to Thomas now to start the session. Thank you. Enjoy the session.
Yeah, good afternoon from our side. Thank you very much, Ephraim, for the introduction. And thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope you are going to learn, you're going to share experience, and I'm also going to learn from you. Ephraim, can you please put the slides? I'm actually taking a few of my time to actually see how we talk around entrepreneurship. Like I said earlier, sorry about the interruption. But basically, when we're talking about young people, and basically when it is attached to entrepreneurship, we're talking about development. And a lot of people have misunderstood entrepreneurship for so many things. So we have to look at what is entrepreneurship, and I think I will be actually looking at my experience and sharing with you my experience on how I got a company and how I actually choose entrepreneurship as the way for sustainable living. I think Ephraim has introduced me. I am both in social entrepreneurship and in that of business entrepreneurship. So when we're talking about entrepreneurship, is actually looking at how to solve problems in either using creative ideas, how to solve problems in a business model. So here entrepreneurs mostly identify the problems around them, seek for problems and actually solve them. So that is what entrepreneurs do. How to become an entrepreneur is something you should be thinking about. And a lot of people want to become entrepreneurs in the world. Becoming an entrepreneur is many people's wish, but a lot have failed into entrepreneurship ventures. That's sadly enough. A lot of time we wish to become entrepreneurs. We wish to start something new. We see a lot of ideas and want to solve the problems, but we failed. In most times we have seen a lot of hundreds of young entrepreneurs, hundreds of people who have started something failing. So we actually want to know how to become an entrepreneur. And also becoming an entrepreneur is not something you do overnight. You just don't wake up overnight and you say, I want to go and do this thing, I want to go and address this particular problem. You actually have to prepare for the task ahead of you that I want to go into entrepreneurship, and you actually need to be prepared. If you want to, it's just like you want to get married, and you actually need to prepare 5 years ahead how many children you need, that you're going to manage those children for the rest of your life. So that is because this thing you are going into is quite different from the former life you are living. Becoming an entrepreneur is a new life. So you have to be prepared for the new life, and you are becoming a partner to that particular thing you are doing. If you're doing a business, if you're using something to create change, you are also an entrepreneur, but that particular thing or that particular organization or the business is different from your life. So you are just working with that thing to actually create sustainable living. So you have to be prepared for it. Now, I have few things, I mentioned few things in the slides on how to become few steps you actually need to look at. Maybe a lot of you in this webinar now has experience. Maybe you have a lot of experience in actually maybe you have become an entrepreneur, you are doing businesses, and you have experience in it. You can share your experience after my presentation, but I just want to share with you few. They can't be all, but these are just few things maybe we may want to know. One, every entrepreneur needs to identify a problem. If you can't identify a problem, if you are not solving a problem, you are not an entrepreneur. And you need to think of a solution to that particular problem. You address the problem, you think of a solution. In fact, capital, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you don't think of capital as a first thing. You think of the problem. What is the problem? 2, think of the solution. How can I address this problem? 3, develop a plan. We, at most time, and then I have been into, I told you that I'll be actually sharing my experience. I have been into grant issuing most of the time with some local donors here in Sierra Leone. And you see a lot of young people, you will give them the money, they will give them the grant, but because there was no plan. So what I do is to see, and I say, no, they don't need capital at all the time. Cannot build their capacity. So each of those businesses, each of those young people that are young, each of the young person that is going to start a business, what we do is to actually build the capacity with training on financial management, and we develop a business plan for you. You use that business plan to apply for loans to donors or to apply for loans in banks. So that is what we do. So when you have a plan, the plan will guide you for the next 5 years. But a lot of us, want to go into business, we want to start becoming an entrepreneur straight because we see the problem, we have the money and we want to do it. So it's not like that. You don't just go into it like that. So you have to address the problem, develop a plan, and now you go to get the resources. So the resources can be the capital you want to start with and what you want to start with, but the plan guides you, and the plan look at the management, who is going to execute this, how many people you need to work with you, how are you going to pay them salaries and all that. And one thing you need to know, the thing you actually, if you are running an organization as an entrepreneur, we have business entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs. Social entrepreneurs run businesses to actually address social issues or to support. They are not actually running it to make profit or to use a profit, or to, their aim is not actually to enrich themselves or what. Their aim is to see if I have an organization and I know funding will not come out all the time. So what I will do, I will create a space. Maybe I will create a business that will support the initiative. So all money is coming is going to support the initiative. Yeah. And business entrepreneurs, they have business focus. They want to make money. That's the main aim. They want to make money and they want to, so this is a difference. So, but everybody, if you have an organization running, you are an entrepreneur and you must have something running to support that particular organization. So you should execute the plan. You execute the plan, and when you have the resources, you find the resources, the business plan, you have your business plan, now you go for the resources. The business plan will guide you on what actually you need to execute that plan. For example, if this particular area, people have to travel to the north to find gari, and they can actually cultivate cassava in this particular environment, but the cassava gets rot because of people are not here to actually see how they can process the cassava. You are addressing a problem of farmers wasting their product. So what you do is to actually address the problem of bringing a cassava processing machine. In this cassava, though you are making money, but again, you are addressing the problem. That makes you an entrepreneur. So we have challenges, I tell you, the people that face the greatest challenges are youth entrepreneurs. And I want to tell you this, and I don't want to. I have been into this. I have failed. And I tell you, maybe the challenges will make you to fail. If you don't want to fail 1-2 times, you don't go to entrepreneurship. Don't go into business. Don't even start it, because you have to face these challenges. There are a lot of challenges that sometimes there are businesses you enter into, you must lose, and you have to fail 1 or 2 times and before you get stronger on your feet, because you have to pass through those things. So overcoming bureaucracy, there are times government controlling issues, government bringing policies, government bringing all these things affect you. And one of the things for Sierra Leone, let me share with you my experience. I will not be going through the slides too much deeply into the slides, but I just want to share my experience. Maybe we can add from your experience you have got so far. For Sierra Leone here, I was having an entrepreneur that actually bring new idea of making solar light to supply water in rice farms. So he's creative. He doesn't take it from anybody. He will develop the solar light himself and all that. So because he has no money and he's a young entrepreneur. So what happened was to look. There was no patent right. He has no patent right. The government didn't award him a patent right that will say, this is my idea and it must be protected. So here in Sierra Leone, this is one of the key challenges to entrepreneurs. Your idea is not protected. You are not protected. So I know it happens in most African countries and in other countries all over the world. Your idea is not protected. So for example, in Nigeria, I know Dangote, if Nigeria people are here, Dangote produces cement. And there are some businesses Dangote do, it's only Dangote. If you want to do it, use Dangote's name, you'll be paying some profits into Dangote's account. So that makes your idea, people become more creative and go into address problem. So that is it. So obtaining financing, I know is one of the greatest challenges. People would think about finance, and like I said, circulated ideas. I think I've talked about that. The ideas is one idea. If I started producing gari here today, coconut gari, because that's my new business I want to enter into. Coconut gari, you see another person will go and the ideas that's simply. So if you are duplicating ideas, then you are not an entrepreneur, because I am producing coconut gari here and I can supply the whole area. Then you also come and produce the same coconut gari in that particular place, or cassava gari or any other type of gari. So you are not addressing a problem. You are just coming to compete with somebody. So for me, you are not an entrepreneur. You are just a business person, and you are doing a business to get profit. So you are not addressing any problem. We under the opportunities, entrepreneurs have a lot of opportunities, and I tell you, and I want to tell you this: the day you decide to go into entrepreneurship, the day you decide to become a boss on your own, that day you live a new life. So there are a lot of opportunities around entrepreneurship. I have been into this, and I tell you, you have a lot of opportunities around it. I'm a CEO for myself. I don't work for anybody. A lot of people are coming from universities, a lot of people are coming back from universities, and we have entrepreneurs here that maybe just have a first degree, a diploma, but they're employing people that have masters. And for Sierra Leone, we have graduates over, maybe from one college, over 7,000 graduates, 5,000 graduates, 3,000 graduates, just from a university. So imagine the market here. In fact, the job market here is too scarce. In fact, it's too, what can I say? In fact, the job market cannot give job to everybody. So you see them seeking job for 5 years, 10 years. Why not? And the universities here are not even training us for the job market. After university, you start learning. The day you come from the university, that day you start learning. I want to tell you what I have experienced. So you start learning a new thing. You can be a program manager. When you come, you start learning programming newly. So so you need to start something doing, and you go. The entrepreneurship joining is the opportunities there. The entrepreneurship joining is something very good, and though I say challenging, and we'll talk about the challenges, but it's something very good, and it's something that can actually expand your network. It can actually help you to see yourself as a CEO of your own. It actually has a lot of things to add to you, and it makes you to overcome challenges even challenges you have not even met in your life. If you become a successful entrepreneur, there is nothing you cannot do, because you may be more for entrepreneurs that started from scratch. I'm not talking about people who come and take over their father's business. They are not entrepreneurs. They are business people, and they are, next of kins. You come and take over your father's business. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people. You are still a business person. You are changing lives. That's what I'm talking about. You are creating change. But again, you are not the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur has died long ago. The entrepreneur has resigned. You are just a person taking over the business. It's not bad, but we are talking about people who have creative ideas and want to use their ideas to start from scratch and want to actually go to. So you can be your own boss. Yeah. You can be your own boss and all.
Sorry, Thomas. Sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
For interrupting you. Can we, because of time limitations, can you tell us more about your story in the next 2 minutes? So we wrap up and we go to Sabah, then we come back to you later. So now let's hear your story of entrepreneurship journey for 2 minutes. Then we come back to you also again. Thank you.
Yeah, I started entrepreneurship 10 years ago. Thank you very much for the reminder. I started business 10 years ago as a young person, and I have created a lot of impact. 10 years ago, I was a kid, and I want to support my family. I come from a very poor family, and there was nobody to support schooling. So, but I started as a business person, and I was doing just business. I don't know why I was not addressing any problems. So 10 years ago, I started struggling, and I started from a little business. So there I started, and I came to social entrepreneurship I've established a lot of organizations, youth organizations and gas organizations that are doing well. And in 2019, I established the Tomdat company to actually address problems of ICT I bring together ICT students that are doing computer science. I bring them from the university, and they say there is need for me to use your skills to actually make money. So these young people, and now my company have over 35 young people. 35 young people employed, and those people are doing well. So they are now CEOs of themselves. So they are now working for themselves. So I think I think there are a lot of things I need to talk about myself. If I say I will talk about my story, I think it will take over 2 minutes. But currently, I want to tell you about my achievement. I have established a youth farm, and I have photo shoot studios everywhere, and I now have an NGO, a community-based organization running through entrepreneurship and all this stuff. So, and a lot of young people their lives have changed, and a lot of young people have actually given testimonies about entrepreneurship. So I think that's a little bit about my life. I think I need to stop here for time's sake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. We've heard a lot of experience from you, and I will come back to you again to ask you more questions on your entrepreneurship journey. So now I'll give it to Sabah, who is going to speak for the next 10 or maximum 12 or 13 minutes. Sabah, it's yours.
Hi all, I'm Sabah Sanayi. I come from Yemen. I'm a youth social activist in Yemen. My usual work is like an online. I work for youth empowerment and youth and girls empowerment, children rights. In addition, today I'm going to speak about the youth empowerment and the relationship between the youth empowerment and youth entrepreneurship. According to the youth empowerment, what is the youth empowerment? It is a process where youth are encouraged to shark off their lives by addressing their challenge and taking action to improve their access to resource and transform their consciences by changing their beliefs, values, and attitudes. There are a lot of impacts for the youth empowerment in our life, like in MENA Youth. And now I'm going to share my personal journey to equip myself, knowledge, skills, and connection. I'm going to start with the main skills that I have earned during my life, during the four last years in my life. The main skills that is mentorship and leadership, working with others as a team. The leadership is a skills that I gained from my daily life, like speaking with others, lead webinars, leading and facilitating youth webinars via Zoom meeting, which I was like a peer monitor with the Experiment Digital. And mentorship was like working with most foundations, civil foundations in Yemen to get and to earn the women empowerment in Yemen. According to my leadership journey, I'm going to start with the first workshop that I have attended as a presenter of Sheba Youth at Amman, Jordan, Amman. The workshop was about gender rights and how to defend children and women rights inside the MENA region. It was the last year. The workshop resulted in youth projects in our countries. That's the main workshop. In addition, I have designed after this workshop, as a result of the workshop, We Are Here project, which is a social project interest on marginalized children and girls in Yemen. The project is in the process of doing like a social initiative. During the COVID-19, I have stopped. As a team, we have stopped nearly this work, and we're gonna complete it in the nearly chance. And the main idea that we have worked in the workshop that we uphold the children girls' right by empower them in the society. We were designed for the sustainability development in the project. We're gonna have made for them a club inside their neighbor. So we're gonna aware them of children and girls' right in the community, and how they become like an efficient members in their communities to get the best results. And according best result, and we're gonna in the process of our next initiatives and projects. According to the entrepreneurship and youth empowerment, I'm gonna now show you the main relationship between the entrepreneurship and youth empowerment. The impact of entrepreneurship and youth empowerment is to got a positive result among youth. youth are owning their own business at young age. On the other hand, some families let their children work during their schooling years to get their food because of poverty. As a MENA region country in Yemen, we suffer from the war, and we suffer from some issues. We have the labor of children labor, and most of the children like beyond 18 years old or less than 18 years old, away from their schools, away from their education. They have to work to get their food because of the poverty spread in the community. And there is not that main awareness according to the education. And there, on the other hand, there are most like entrepreneur. It comes from the youth, and this school. In these schools, like they have started their own businesses. They get their own passion in their life by understand themselves. That is the main impact of the entrepreneurship and youth empowerment. They are related. Like when you found your passion on something and you start working as a youth for your dream or your aim or your own businesses, and that will have a good effect in your community. Now I'm gonna introduce some of the projects that I have been worked on. The first project, we are here project for children and youth empowerment. We are here is a social initiative project, is concentrated by making 3 webinars. Each webinar is for 1 evening or 1 hours to facilitate the awareness about children's rights and girls' rights. And according to the sustainability, we were working on a football club for them, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have stopped most of our working, and we hope that we're gonna have the positive results as soon as possible. And the main impact that we have to work for the youth, and our issue like youth is the youth will have better life in the next or coming 10 or 15 years later in the MENA region, by training them, by coaching, by a lot of process. We're gonna have it as a youth and the change makers around the globe and around the MENA region to achieve our aim as a global leader and a young change maker. The next project that I have worked during the COVID-19 situation was held in the last April in 2020 is Shiba Youth platform. And like I was working with Shiba Youth Foundation, and until now as intern with them, and I was coordinator for their project. Plus, I was coordinating for Shiba Youth Foundation projects, which is the Shiba Youth platform. It was one of my amazing work that I have facilitated and I have coordinated on. It was held on April 2020. And it was the first online platform in Yemen which make online meeting that brings 2 speakers together. The speakers was one from Yemen and the other from MENA region for a Zoom meeting, and participants from the MENA region to bring the youth around, to bring the Yemeni youth and to see their achievements as a change maker. And because of the war, that there is no impossible dream in the war. Like everything is gonna be possible, even if the situation of the country is not like that better. It's somehow like bad, but as youth, we are working for ourselves. We are working for empowerment. We have a lot of achievements. And now I think we're gonna move to Ala.
Sure, thank you, Sabah.
You're welcome. I think I have to stop here.
Sure.
It's like
So,
10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're very long time. So I'll move to Ali Mustafa, who's our guest speaker today. He's also from Yemen, and he's a co-founder of Color Me, a green startup with a vision to make the fashion and clothing industry sustainable. He has a BA in oil and gas management from International University of Technology, Twente. He's also a global ambassador, a YouthLead network educator, and he's participating with youth networks in the MENA region. So Ali Mustafa, thank you for coming to the webinar. So I will ask you only two questions. The first question is, how did you discover the problem or the need to have a startup in the area of fashion and clothing industry? And the second question is, any lessons you have learned during this process of founding the company and idea growing from ideation to implementation or accelerating the company, and what are the lessons you've learned, and also how were you tackling the problems of youth entrepreneurship?
Thank you so much, Efren, and for the organizers of this event to give me the opportunity to speak about my experience. So hi everyone, my name is Ali Mustafa, and I am happy to be here with all of you to discuss the topic of youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, along with Sabah and Thomas, and it's great to know about their engagement and leadership. So actually, I have started my journey as an entrepreneur when I co-founded a green startup, which is Color Me, during my college life to compete on Injaz Al Arab regional competition for young entrepreneurs. The idea of Color Me aims to tackle the problem of overproduction and overconsumption of clothing, or what is called today the fast fashion industry. So when I introduced the idea to the people, I have received encouragement from them due to the humanitarian situation in Yemen, and because people cannot afford to buy new clothes. But nobody was interested in the issue that I'm working on because they do not understand the idea that the accumulation of old clothes in landfills can harm the natural ecosystems. But eventually we get the award of the company with the best social impact in the Arab region. And that was the start of my journey. So actually I have faced so many challenges in my entrepreneurship journey. First, I did not get enough support from business accelerators here in my country who are not willing to finance green startups. And as you know, I'm living in Yemen, a country which is suffering from an ongoing armed conflict. So the problem that I am trying to solve with my startup is not important for the Yemeni society in general. So in fact, I was frustrated in the beginning, and I realized that before I introduce this solution to my community, it's necessary to educate them and raise their awareness on how our daily habits harms the ecosystem. So that's why I have shifted my career, and now I am working in different youth networks to promote environmental education and green entrepreneurship in the MENA region. Actually, I am happy to achieve this in a short time, and I'm still working to learn more and contribute as much as I can to my community. And actually what helped me to achieve this was the availability of the digital spaces which have been created after the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, now we as youth have the ability to learn more from people from different cultures, knowledge, and backgrounds, and become potential entrepreneurs and develop our communities. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ali. So I will go to the next session, which is like question and answer for both Sabah and Thomas. So a quick question, which is also similar to what I've asked to Ali. So how did you learn to sustain your business startup or business young business entrepreneurship journey? So this is like for Thomas and Sabah. I'll give you both 1 minute before we wrap up the session. How did you learn to sustain your startup? It could be an initiative, it could be a foundation, it could be also a business. So I'll give it to Thomas also to share his experience on this one, and then go to Sabah.
Yeah, from all my projects, I have a sustainability plan for them. For my organization, what I did is to create a business that will actually continue to run. So each donor that comes to me, I will tell them that let's have a sustainability plan. I think that's what I do. And for the company, I believe I find ways to raise personal resources for myself, and I actually build the capacity of my staff. That's what I do to create sustainability. So the staff are well capacitated and they can run even if without funding from any person. We can create money from our own self, and we create a system of managing the resources. So when we create a system for managing the resources and the finances, there is always that kind of sustainability. The lifespan of the company goes longer and longer. I think that is what I do from my side.
Thank you, Thomas. Sabah?
I have missed the internet connection. Can you repeat the question, please?
So from your entrepreneurship and youth empowerment journey, what lessons have you learned on how to sustain the initiative, or it could be foundation or your own business?
The main lesson that I have learned through my journey is every work or every step you have to learn from it something. You're gonna have a result from it. Like it's okay in our daily life and our daily work. We're gonna get daily mistakes, and each mistakes is gonna fix on the next step. Like we learn to earn. It's my rule in my life. I don't think that I moved through my life like easily. I usually got refused. I usually got like mistakes. I usually have a lot of big refusion and big mistakes through some applications, some work, but I never lose. Like I learn from each step, like to the other step. And the main opportunity, the other role of me is the main opportunity, and the opportunity you deserve, you're gonna find it on the near time. Like you haven't to give up, and that's it.
Well, that's amazing, all three of you. We've learned Allies, a green startup which is working on clothing, and Thomas's Photoshop, which is supplying or which is subsidizing his charity work, and also Sabah's strategy on how to connect youth empowerment projects with youth entrepreneurship. So that was I believe, a great lesson we've learned today from all three of you. So we have 7 minutes, and I only need 5 minutes. So that means we have 3 minutes for anyone to ask a question for any of the speakers today, Sabah, Thomas, or Alai. So if you have a question, you can type it in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and then you can ask. Okay, so it looks like the session was very clear and no one had a question. So we'll go to the final wrapping up sessions. Next slide, please. So we really hope that this discussion continues, especially regarding the youth entrepreneurship and how to sustain young people's business or startup or different initiatives. And also, thank you very much for our audiences for coming to the session. So I'll take a few minutes to talk about YouthLead and how you can join and contribute to the site. So the youthlead.org, which is a youthlead.org, is a site for networking with peer young entrepreneurs or young leaders or young change makers. And once you are a member, you will have a chance to create your own profile and also upload projects and different contents. If you have an event which is going on in your area, you can go to the site and upload it, and you can have more visibility for your content or resource or projects. And also whenever you contribute a resource or a project to the site, you will have a badge. Based on this badge, you will have points. And as a member also, you will have access to get a newsletter, which has different opportunities, different applications and resources right on your email. So you can also follow us on our social media. We are available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at YouthLead Global is our social media name. And also you can reach out to our speakers who are also have a profile on the YouthLead site. Next slide, please. So we'd like to thank our various sponsors who are promoting YouthLead to their youth networks and also contributing resource, event, and various funding opportunities. Our sponsors are offering their expertise, knowledge, and topics, and we organize webinars like today's with them. And also you will hear about them in the future also. Next slide. So with that, I am saying thank you very much to our speakers and our attendees, and we hope you'll join our next webinar, which will be on May 14th. And it will be on future of work for young people. We'll talk about the role of social entrepreneurship and soft skills. So please check the events on the youthlead.org for upcoming webinar announcements. And as I said before in the beginning, the recording will be available to all of you on the youthlead.org site. And with that, we hope to see you next time. And until then, please stay safe and have a great evening, day, and afternoon in wherever you are. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.